Hooray! You did a good job, buddy. You made it. You did it. You made it. It's great. Level up. Awesome. So I want to kind of take full advantage of these all of these enemies that are spawning out of these forts, because I want all their experience. I want to eat it up. I want to go delicioso. Okay. Also, this is a mission where you have to defeat all of the enemies, so even if I were to run up to Linus real quick and punch him in the face, it might stop the reinforcements from occurring, but it would not end the battle by defeating him and sitting on his throne. I just thought it'd be kind of interesting if you got to like if you did if you did this backwards, where instead of you trying to defeat all the enemies on the board, well, let's put it this way: it's a combination of both. You have to defeat all the enemies on the board, but your main objective is to defend the throne. So you have to do both. If the enemy kills your main characters, that's the game over. If they get to the throne, that's the game over. And your job is to protect this from being infiltrated. And at the same time, that you have this village down here to the bottom left, and you make it so that there's a brigand coming at it. So you've got a number of turns you have to get down there. Now, I imagine grab yourself a nice flyer, maybe Heath with some defense. Should be okay. Not really much to worry about, unless of course they decide to drop a trebuchet, released, in that area, and just kind of make your life a living hell. Because now you have to worry about being sniped out of the air. Speaking of which, here they come again, those little Lycian nobles. I'd love to take them on, but Prince Zephadel insisted it was they who saved him. What is this world coming to? So you can recruit her by using your lord. I thought she was only recruitable by using Heath. But apparently she doesn't give two shits about Heath. So, yeah. We're just going to be murdering her this time around. So that I'll have access to her regardless if I play Hector's Hard. I keep thinking about Hector's Hard because I'm sort of trying to set some ground rules for myself to make it as difficult, but maybe not as difficult as possible, because there's definitely a lot of stuff that you could do to make it as difficult as possible. I.e., you have to use every character, and they all have to be leveled equally. So if you've got a Florina at level 10, then everybody else has got to be level 10. Or if you've got if you bring Keith into the fold, now everyone's got to be a classed up character at least level whatever he's at, like let's say 4 or 5. I understand that it'd be very simple to just get your guys to 10, class them up, and there you go, you're already there. But I was thinking of doing it in this way. I gotta think about it, obviously, because I might not need to do anything to make the game any harder than it already is. But I was thinking of using only characters I haven't used so far, which would be Marcus, Isabel, Sane. Surprisingly, I didn't use Sane at all. Like, seriously use Sane. Urk, Priscilla, Guy. There's actually a good number of characters that are okay to use. Heath, I left Heath off the board. Surprising. Pretty much anyone who's pre-promoted will count in that list as well. I definitely use Pent, even though I did use a bit of Pent in Hector Elwood's mode. I don't feel like I actually really used him. So I'd use Pent, Louise, Maybe Harkin, because he'll be classed up. You know, obviously Hector's the hard mode get hard mode bonuses. So Hector's hard mode would give any enemy unit, geese, kites, whatever you want to call them, and Ellawood and well, not Ellawood. What am I saying? Raven, Keith, Baldia, Keith, Raven, if I didn't already say him. So, like, anyone who starts out as an enemy that you're able to recruit, that'd be, like, super ideal. Arkin would be another one. He starts out as an enemy for some reason. But other characters wouldn't get that bonus, which it would just sort of be a base, it'd be a bonus to their base, not their level ups. So, like, for instance, if I ran into Carl or Corel instead of Arkin, then he comes in as a green unit, and you don't get the hard mode bonus for him. So you definitely have a number of characters you can use to sort of take advantage of the fact that this is hard mode. All the enemies are getting these bonuses, like 2 to 3 extra points of everything. They're going to use that as an advantage to start out with increased base stats, and then just work your way up from there. Also, for some reason, I don't know why, and I know this has nothing to do with the way Merlinus levels up, because he just levels up the same way regardless. Merlinus is like my little tank, my little choo-choo tank. I just put him in places and, like, he doesn't seem to get hit. And when he does get hit, he doesn't seem to take all that much damage. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm getting lucky and he's avoiding every time. But, yeah. Just wanted to kind of make that point. Excuse me. So there's going to be a couple more guys coming in, mainly levered riders from the bottom, where they're coming from, essentially. These guys will still be coming in occasionally from these other headquarters, as you can see. They sort of, I'm going to say they spawn randomly because, but obviously they do not. So what the plan is, we're going to use our horse riders, we're going to go up there, clean those guys out. We're going to make our way towards boss here, and then after that I may send someone down like Marina to mop up the rest. Oh, that's such a shitty level. Mop up the rest of the leopard riders. I mean, I can let them come to me, but I'm just not going to do that. Valia no longer has her big girl spear, so too bad. So sad. If I cared, I would recruit Valdia on the subsequent turn. I don't have any problem with her per se. I know she's an asshole. She's very much like a nationalist. She's pro-burn. She doesn't really care about anyone else or anything else because her only loyalty is to her country. I get it. Okay, great. But she's at least a little bit. She's definitely better than fucking Jafar. Jafar's character is, I love Nino. I'm going to side with whatever side Nino's on. It matters not who you are, it is too late. I will avenge my brother's death, one by one. Probably not the most ideal matchup for him, but, you know, bow and arrow versus sword's probably not going to be any different than if I used my warrior versus the sniper there. So he's wielding a light brand, which is the equivalent of a javelin or hand axe for sword users, which is fine. It does irk me just a little bit because that sword should be specifically dedicated to a character that is designed to be a what do they call that? Sword mage. Basically, they're decent in both sword play and magic without being like overpowered in either. So normally a weapon like that would have both physical and magical damage, a little bit of both. So if you're strictly a physical user, like a sword master or say any other a hero, it probably wouldn't do you all that much good unless you had some decent magic behind it. And then the opposite's true as well. If you're a mage, but you don't have any, you don't get any strength, which again, that's part of this game where they took the the strength and the magic. It's the same thing. It's just that you can only wield certain items like swords or whatever. And that's sort of how they divided, so they saved themselves some space. But in genealogy, there's one or two characters that can adequately make use of the light brand because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to be I don't know what you want to call it. You want to call them mage fighters, or you want to call them sword mages. But yeah, that's what they do. They can use a little bit of usually in genealogy it's always anima magic, because they basically restricted dark magic for the villain, and they basically restricted using light magic to only one character, with the exception of the one sage character you get. Sages can also wield light magic, but they only can wield the lowest level of white magic. Usually doesn't make much difference when it comes to actually fighting dark mages. But it does at least give you the weapon triangle advantage. I don't know. I'm always talking genealogy and the Holy War's praise. And I may have mentioned this because I've been thinking about this a decent bit, you know, in terms of, well, what if they ever remade that game, like in a more modern one? I'd probably piss on it, to be honest with you. I'd piss on it because they would do the following two things to it. They would increase the animu-ness of it, and like, you know, take away a little bit from the story and just be like, ooh, you know, and just be like, oh, come on, man, can you not do that at least this one time? And the other thing that I think would grind my gears more than anything is, instead of having a big map that you can see the whole board on, and you're going to play through this whole map slowly but surely, and then you'll be able to unlock different areas, they would split those up into their individual forts. So you would go from your original home base southwest to the first fort. Then once you get that fort, the game would cut, you would get the rest of a cutscene, and then you would start, and you would be at that new starting castle fort, and then you'd move to the next one. So instead of having a big open map where you've got 5 or 6 spots that you not only have to get to, but you also have to defend these castles as well, because the enemy can retake the castles if you're not protecting them, or you let an enemy slip by you. So then you have to go back and retake the castle. And obviously, if they take your home base, you're dead. It's game over. But it's very hard to do in genealogy. It can happen, particularly as you get towards the end of the game. But that's what they would do. Because if you want a big criticism of that game, it's the fact that because the map is so wide open, they don't want you getting ahead of the enemies, and they can only spawn a certain number of enemies on the board at any given time. So they don't want you to basically have the castle completely beaten, and then you take 5 turns to push your guys up the road towards the next castle, so that you're in such an excellent position. So as soon as you capture that castle, you're right there at the next one, ready to capture it again. They don't want that, obviously. They want you to play through the game like normal. So ideally, that would be what you would call a compromise, where you would basically break up each one of these big levels into a bunch of smaller levels. But I don't like that, because when you see you capture a base and you realize that there are flying units coming over the mountains to capture your base, your main base, i.e. game over, start over from scratch. You know, you kind of feel like a bit of an idiot, because obviously you've got your whole army out on the field, but you left your base wide open. And if you do that, where, you know, you basically break the map up into 4 smaller maps or 3 smaller maps, you lose all of that. Because now you don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about whatever the last base was that you captured. That's your new home base. And then, probably not far from it, when the level starts, and then when you go capture the next base, well, that ends that level and you start the next level. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I understand for large swaths of that game, just leaving your home base completely wide open does not matter whatsoever. You have little to no fear of any enemy getting past your main army and slipping in behind, you know, behind your ranks and capturing your base. And because the game is so heavily focused on your army's so heavily focused on horse units, you very rarely run into the situation where you can't catch up to the enemy. You know, generally you either have the movement advantage or you're at least equal in movement to them. So if you saw, say, flying units, you know they can traverse the whole map without any penalty. You can at least try to flank them, if possible. I don't know. We're almost done. Got another couple enemies to finish off, and then that should be it. Thank you, Lord. So depending on how I play Hector's hard mode, not to get back on that subject again, but depending on how I play Hector's hard mode, you may actually see the opposite outcome in this level, where I'm fighting the other brother. Dead. 100% chance of doing 34 damage. Plus I got a fucking druid sitting diagonal back from me. As if. Yep, that's more than 30. Plus a crit. That's another thing I won't be using in Hector's hard mode. I will not be using, in all likelihood, unless I really change my mind, I'm not going to be using anybody using black magic, i.e. Canis. I won't be using anyone using light magic, because I've already used both characters that use light magic in the first 2 runs. But unfortunately, I've not used anybody with anima magic, so I'm going to be very heavily anima magicked if I decide to use those characters. Dig. Six, 12 with a 50% chance and no crit. Love it. 21% with a 6% crit versus my 65 too. Lovely. I literally don't know what to do. You're gonna have to raise your defense clearly. What an excellent level up that was. You got strength. You got everything except for defense and resistance. Really good. Alright, looks like we're just gonna have 2 more Wyvern Riders and the brother. The brothers! Brother. Singular. I kinda don't want to waste the experience on him. And almost died. No more waiting line. I'm coming. Yeah, that's a pretty good level up too. He might be maxed out on the 1 skill now. We're close to it anyways. Alright, let's finish you off. We'll take the throne, and then we'll hit a cutscene. And Nino will be sad because we had to kill her brother. You try to talk to him with Nino, it doesn't do any difference. Brother. Why? Why did it have to come to this? I don't understand. Lord Athos, when did you arrive? Just now, I warped in, you know. I was watching you in my scrying crystal. Most important thing is that you've made it here. If that's true, why didn't you just magic us here in the first place? Why would have that proven? I cannot hope to succeed if you cannot trust your own strength. Your own power must drive you. That is the most important thing. Now then, shall we go? Underground where Braemon waits. Braemon? One of the 8 legends? Is that who you're talking about? That is right. Of the 8 legends, only Brahman and myself remain. Your journey here was a bit of a test, I'm afraid. I had to see if you were worthy of wielding a legendary item. Legendary item? That's right. The weapon that we, the 8 legends, used to defeat the dragons. With it, you'll be able to sever Nurgle's power at its roots. Weapon defeat Nurgle. Legendary items are sealed in the land across this continent. Only one capable of removing these seals is Braemon. Now, if only we'd be granted this one request. Hooray! This is so dark. It's creepy, I can't see a thing. Shh, someone's here. You're Braemon. Yes, I suppose that's me. What do you want of me? You who live above the ground, we have a favor to ask. We seek something to help us defeat Nurgle. That is unfortunate, for I cannot grant that which you seek. Humanity would suffer if I removed the seals. What do you mean? The entire world is on the brink of destruction as it is. The entire world? Why would I care about that? The whole world can burn for all I care. My father, Sky, that voice, the way you talk, keeps changing. How many? Braemon has no self. He, she, it, yes, is a mirror that reflects the person addressing it. It projects no personality of its own. There are as many Braemons as there are people facing him. Braemon, do you remember me? Athos. It's been many ages. I cannot fathom why you brought these people here. Why I sealed everything away. Do you forget why? Legendary items are not meant for human hands. But we cannot stop Nurgle like this. We need your power to help save the world. Raymond, remember, we too are human. These people, they will not be seduced by power. They came here without my aid, using their own abilities. You observed them, did you not? It's true, they seem better, stronger than most humans. Yet humans are frail. What guarantee do I have? They will not succumb to the frailty, Athos. The guarantee there is none. We simply ask you believe in us. Once, there was a man such like you. A gaze never wandered. It was ever fixed sight ahead. The seals have been released. You may now do as you please. I am tired. Would you let me rest?